So yes, as Matt said, I'm talking about inspiring a new generation of developers and alternative paths to becoming a software engineer. So if you were to tell me even a year ago that I would be standing up here and speaking at a Ruby conference, I would have laughed in your face and told you that you were crazy. I was an advertising major in college, and I grew up building Barbie's dream house rather than computers. So I had been working in ad agencies since I was 16, and I was good at it, and the thought of being a software engineer never crossed my mind, and it looked really boring and intimidating, to be honest. The path to becoming a software developer, in my eyes, was straightforward and well-defined. You needed a computer science degree to have dropped out of your computer science degree to work for a company writing code, or have been a self-taught programmer who had been writing code since they were 7. But recently, the community has seen a rise in non-traditional paths to becoming a software engineer. These paths are the future to building a diverse community and training the next generation of developers. So today I'm here to argue that outreach programs, mentorship, apprentice programs, and developer schools are a legitimate path to becoming a software engineer. This path has been the beginning to my journey, making me see that something that I thought was impossible is actually possible. So I first want to talk about outreach programs. Railsbridge is a great example of an outreach program that's working. How many people have heard of Railsbridge or Rails Girls? It's similar to Rails Girls. Oh, wow, a lot of you. And who participated in the Rails Girls workshop? Awesome, a lot of you. Was it fun? Did you guys like it? Awesome. So that's how I got started. I went to a Railsbridge workshop in Denver, Colorado, which is pretty much the same thing as Rails Girls. And I built a basic Rails app and deployed it to Heroku in one day. I was so amazed that I could do it, and it really did plant the seed to the career that I had always dreamed of but hadn't yet realized. I not only met Desi McAdam, who would become one of my greatest mentors and influencers, but I discovered a passion for writing Rails that I would have never discovered on my own. So it taught me that writing code wasn't scary, and in a few hours I deployed my first application. And I remember it like it was yesterday, yelling to my best friend who was at the workshop with me that I was going to be writing code from now on. So Sarah May and Sarah Allen started Railsbridge in 2009 when the San Francisco Ruby community was 98% male and 2% female. So since the program lowered the barrier to entry, they saw an increase of women attending the workshops. So in 1 year, the female ratio increased from 2 to 18%, thanks to Railsbridge's efforts. And I'm definitely not the only one who's pursued a career in web development thanks to Railsbridge. I have a few testimonials that I'm going to share with you from people who attended the workshop who are now full-time engineers. So Rachel Myers, who's now a developer at GitHub in San Francisco, one of the first people to do a Railsbridge program, said this, that she got to meet new people who were new instead of people who had been doing it since they were 5. And Laura Stedman, who is now a developer at QuickLeft in Boulder, said, attending Railsbridge was inspiring, not because of what I built that day, but the sincere enthusiasm of the volunteers. She was just so inspired that people gave up their whole entire weekend to teach people to write code for free. Richa Avasti, who's also a graduate of Railsbridge, said that she's a full-time developer now and that it creates an open environment for people who might otherwise self-select out of programming. There are a bunch of different outreach programs that are out there, like Rails Girls, Black Girls Who Code. All are really great programs which need sponsors, teachers, volunteers on an ongoing basis. So, if you're not involved with one of those and want to be, definitely recommend it. I'm also the coordinator for the Denver Women Who Code, and it's really, truly amazing to see the impact that the group has had on the community in 1 year. And the most popular meetups that we have are usually ones that are geared towards beginners wanting to get into the industry. So secondly, mentorship. Mentorship is another really important aspect of training the next generation of developers. Mentorship was beneficial to me because I looked to my mentors not only for technical skills, but for soft skills and support. Because to go from attending a Railsbridge workshop to becoming a full-time software engineer was way more work than I had ever expected. There are literally days when I come home in tears, feeling frustrated from not understanding basic concepts still. I'm not only learning how to write Rails, Ruby, testing frameworks, and Git, but a completely new way of thinking. So mentoring is also beneficial to the mentors, not just to me. My mentors constantly tell me how it ultimately makes them a better developer because it solidifies an understanding of the content being taught. John Foley, who's a developer at Pivotal Labs, told me that mentoring elevates you from thinking you know to actually knowing you know or not knowing at all. Mentoring not only provides countless and necessary benefits to mentees, people like me, but to the mentor too. So even advanced developers can learn new things by having to explain it in a way that a beginner can understand it. So I really think that mentorship is worth your time. How many people here mentor somebody now? Okay, a few of you, awesome. How many people have had someone mentor them? Wow, awesome. And did it help you guys in, like, with your career? Yes, I see a lot of nods in the back. Okay, awesome. Okay, so now I want to switch gears and talk about what I think it means to be a great mentor, because I think this is really important. I think that you need to have an ability to explain complex concepts simply. At RubyConf, Steve Harms, who presented, gave us a Star Wars analogy that really made something click for me. So when people can give me analogies that are more real and in real life, I can understand much better. And people who use big technical words, it's really hard for me to grasp what's going on. Also, awareness. One of the best mentors I had was always asking me about my learning styles, how I learned best, and he would then use that to help me in assigning me homework and daily activities. So getting to know your mentee is really important. I learned that drawing things out on the whiteboard was really helpful for me, and I also learned that if I read something in a textbook, like the big Ruby pickaxe book, it was impossible. Like I had no idea what was going on. Patience. I really think that if you want to be a mentor, you should have patience. If you're an impatient person, it might not be the best thing to be a mentor. When a beginner is learning to write code, you may have to explain the same thing over and over again. Things move at a slow pace, and it's important to make sure that you're being patient and understanding when working with your mentee. Patience is an invaluable skill that I've also had to learn in writing code. A lot of times I would aggressively switch between when I had a failing test and the text editor. I just super impatient, not reading the errors. So learning patience was something that I also had to do. So weekly retrospectives. I think checking in with your mentor on a weekly, or if you don't have a lot of time, even monthly basis is really important. What went well, what didn't go well, and what can be improved on. These were invaluable to me because I was able to focus on softer skills as well, like my patience issue. Pairing. I think as far as technical skills go, this was the best thing for me. I definitely learn the most when I'm pairing. When I'm on my own, I really don't feel like I'm learning as much when I'm pairing. Pairing on actual client projects and even my own breakable toy was super helpful during my apprenticeship. Empathy. I think this is the most important advice that I can give to mentors, is to have empathy. It was extremely discouraging when mentors would tell me, oh, like, you're learning really slow, you should be getting this, like, or how do you not know that? It was just really discouraging to hear that, and a lot of times I was like, okay, then maybe I should give up. I'm obviously not smart enough to do that. So just being encouraging and watching yourself before. You may think that in your head, and that's fine. Just not saying it to your mentee would probably be the best thing, because it is really discouraging. So my incredible mentors and my experience at Railsbridge not only changed my life, but others around me in an almost ripple effect. This is my Instagram photo with my two best friends who did Railsbridge with me, and the blonde one on the left, she's now a front-end developer in San Francisco, and then the Asian on the right is now attending a hacker school in New York. Also, my friend Zach, who is actually in the audience today, picked up his whole life recently and moved to another state in order to attend a dev boot camp and pursue a career in software engineering when he saw me coding one day in the kitchen. So now that I've talked about outreach programs and mentorship, I want to talk about apprentice programs. Apprentice programs are intense training that you wouldn't receive at a university. It can take a passionate learner and turn them into a competent and reliable software engineer. So I was really, really fortunate because I got to do Thoughtbot's Apprentice.io program. I don't know if any of you have heard of that. But Thoughtbot's a consulting company, and it's known for its apprentice program. And 25% of the employees at Thoughtbot actually came through the apprentice program. So it really proved a great way for Thoughtbot to train and maintain budding talent. So Dan, the CMO, describes why the program was created. Just talented people who weren't ready to be full-time consultants, and they wanted to train them. And Chad, the CEO, said, everyone in the program who was eligible to get a job afterward has gotten a job with Thoughtbot or another employer. Unfortunately, Thoughtbot's apprentice program has gone through some recent changes, and they are now looking for pretty advanced engineers and have developed a boot camp for beginners. But I think there needs to be more companies that are creating formal mentorship and apprentice programs for people who are beginner and intermediate rather than people who have been doing it for 5 years and already know everything. So a study recently showed that benefits are much higher than the cost of having apprentice programs. And this is general, not just in our field. So why should companies be doing this? More developers for hire. If companies invest in apprentice and mentorship programs, there will be more highly trained and prepared candidates out there. These companies can help other companies too, clients, et cetera, find high quality candidates. Corporate social responsibility is also really important. 96% of citizens said they would have a more positive image of a company if they were doing CSR. It's really important and all around a great way to give back to the community, I think. A lot of employees at different companies also want to be mentors and want to teach and don't have the opportunity. So this would create a more formal opportunity for interested parties to be able to do this. Also, the goodwill vision of the company spreads. Like I'm up here, talking about Thoughtbot and Railsbridge and all of these things that have made a difference in my life. And I think the message and goodwill of your company will spread throughout countless of students if you take a risk on them. Developer schools. So intense Ruby on Rails training programs like G School and Dev Bootcamp are other great examples of alternative education options. My journey now is taking me down this route, and I'm currently the teaching assistant and developer for the G School program in Denver. These are literally popping up everywhere and also crucial in increasing diversity within the industry, I think. So G School is a 6-month intense developer bootcamp that has a $60K job placement guarantee 3 months after graduation. So most boot camps are 3 months long and don't have the job guarantee, so I think that's pretty impressive. You pay and you're guaranteed to get a job or else you get your money back. That's a pretty good deal. Our first class, who is now being run by pivotal instructors, it's starting March 3rd, which is really exciting. There are many other developer schools throughout the country and the rest of the world. And I personally chose to work at G School because of the length of the program and the quality of the teachers. So this is Victoria Friedman. I had the pleasure of meeting her at RubyConf in Miami this year, and she was an English major who said she had a midlife crisis after she graduated and had no idea what she wanted to do with her life. She attended the Flatiron School in New York, and she's now a full-time developer at Time Inc. And I was so amazed by her ability to talk about programming so technically and articulately. She never thought she would enjoy writing code, and now she loves it and does it full-time. So it was really inspiring to meet her. This is what she had to say about her experience at the Flatiron School. She would always tell me that she not only learned to code, but she learned to check her ego because she was always used to being so good at everything, which I thought was interesting. So there are a lot of critiques and controversy about these developer boot camps. I'm sure some of you read on Hacker News and Reddit. I think a lot of them have pretty weak arguments, but I do understand where they're coming from. Going from no background in writing code in 3 months to becoming a full-time software engineer seems really impossible and scary. And I agree that a lot of these programs can be a waste of money. So I would just suggest to research and talk to recent graduates of the program before enrolling in a school. But G School, they've had 2 classes and they have 100% job placement, which is pretty crazy. So I think it's a really good way to jump right in and learn. There are also sites that are ranking these programs and where students can comment anonymously about their experience. People are also worried that junior developers are going to be saturating the market and there aren't enough senior developers to train them. And I agree that this could be a problem in the future. So why am I up here? Why is all of this important? Why is it important to have alternative paths to becoming a software engineer? And I think 3 things. Diversity, lack of quality engineers, and the failure of the education system. So this is a quote from NC Witt talking about formal mentorship is really important to retaining and advancing underrepresented employees, which I agree with. So access to the internet is a privilege. White males specifically have access at an earlier and a much higher rate than females and people of different ethnic backgrounds. Statistics show that boys get access to their first computer at age 11, while girls at age 14. And it's even later for people of color who tend to have a much higher adoption rate of smartphones rather than computers. And can you imagine trying to write code on a smartphone? 82% of CS graduates are male. Females make up more than half the undergrad graduates, but only 18% of computer science graduates. There's a really high barrier via the traditional computer science route in university. Arjun, another one of my friends at Pivotal, told me that there were no women in his computer science classes at USC, and the few women that were in there were really intimidated and more likely to drop out. He also said that his computer science degree did not prepare him for a career at Pivotal and did not really know how to write production-level software. So we have all these barriers: financial access, lack of encouragement, discrimination, lack of role models. All of these barriers are really hard to overcome. So if we want to create diversity within the industry, education must come from elsewhere. Outreach programs, mentorship, apprentice programs, and developer boot camps are all alternative to traditional education that lower the barriers to becoming a developer. This is key in creating a diverse community. And I want to emphasize that this is lowering the barriers and not the standards. Alternative education needs to be really high in quality. These developer boot camps need to be great. These apprentice programs need attention. It needs to be high quality in order to maintain a standard in the industry. So we all know that diversity is important, and not only does it drive economic growth overall, but it has been scientifically proven that diversity fosters innovation and enhanced abilities to solve problems. So another thing to be aware of, a lot of these programs and alternative paths are predominantly in white areas for people of average or even high socioeconomic status. It would be awesome to see these mentorship, apprentice programs, outreach programs happening in rural areas that have low socioeconomic status and ethnic diversity. So something to keep in mind. Secondly, there's a massive lack of supply of quality engineers. How many people here are hiring, or their company hires on an ongoing basis for developers? Yeah, a lot. Companies continue to struggle to find engineers. So according to NC Witt again, if current trends continue, by 2018, the information technology industry will only be able to fill half of its available jobs. So there are many people out there who never considered software engineering as a viable career option because they were discouraged from it, stereotypes, never thought they were smart enough, never grew up with a computer, or were intimidated by people who had been programming since they were young. These people can discover their passion and take an alternative approach, such as I discussed earlier, the programs I discussed, and developer boot camps. So thirdly, the traditional computer science degree isn't providing the industry with the developers that it needs. Most people coming out of college are not ready for full-time engineering jobs, and it takes 4 or more years to receive a degree, and not to mention the hefty price tag of college tuition. So thanks to programs like Railsbridge, my amazing mentors, ThoughtBot's apprentice program, I'm here today to speak about the importance of alternative educational paths in software development. And I would be lying if I told you that my path to becoming a software engineer was easy and constantly rewarding. There are times when I'm really close to quitting, and when I go home and cry feeling so frustrated and incompetent when the test suite won't turn green. But I know that I love what I'm doing, and I will not quit. I know this because of the chills I get when I manage to get through it, refactor, and produce some beautiful code. So it literally moves me and makes me feel like I can do anything I put my mind to. My goal is that other people who never thought that becoming a software engineer was possible will become inspired by one of these alternative education programs, or by an influential mentor, or discover not only that they can be a great developer, but find a passion for it. Thank you so much for your time today, and feel free to contact me via email or Twitter if you have any questions.
Really good there. I have time for some questions.
Yeah, totally.
So anybody have any questions for Kinsey? One over here, another one here.
Sorry. You mentioned a study that found that the benefits outweighed the costs of mentorships or internships or something like that.
Yes.
Did you have a reference to the study on your last screen, or can you tweet a reference or something
yes,
like that?
I have. Sorry, I have my works cited. I can put it up.
And also, do you know if there's been any research on people graduating from university versus people who take alternative paths and how they end up doing or anything? Or
I don't think formally. I didn't. I looked for a lot of different things and I couldn't really find any formal statistics just because these developer boot camps and these alternative paths are sort of a new thing. I couldn't find any hard, concrete research on it. Just honestly, just from talking to people is how
no worries.
Yeah.
I dropped out of computer science after 2 years because I hated it. But I hated the degree. But I liked computer science.
Did you get a job programming?
Yeah. I've been programming like 10 years, so I'm all with the alternative paths thing.
Oh, awesome.
I have some anecdotal evidence of that sort of stuff, and yeah, if you can maintain your trajectory coming out of one of these programs and immerse yourself in, you know, the kind of places where these jobs come up, then it does work. Someone fresh out of uni versus someone fresh out of a 3 or 6 month intensive course, you can tell the difference, and the passion and the trajectory is really what's sort of you will need to keep going there.
Yeah, I've found that a lot of just the basic computer science theory isn't there, but they're able to produce web apps that are well tested, that sort of thing. So.
Hi. So you said that you decided to become a software engineer as a result of an outreach program. Is that right?
Yeah, from Railsbridge, literally.
Okay. So what was the main driver, the main reason why you said to yourself, "Hey, you know what? I can become a developer"? Why did you actually want to do code and become a developer in the first place?
I loved it. I had so much fun. Like the language, I had no idea what I was typing into the terminal half the time. I was just copying and pasting it, but it was so interesting and it just seemed so challenging and rewarding. And it was amazing that I could build this little web app. We built a voting app in one day. And I was like, oh, I can do this. And I had always been interested in it. My stepbrother writes code, but I was just like, oh, I'm not smart enough, like I can't do this. But you know, learning Ruby and being able to do that in one day really made me realize, it gave me the, I guess, the encouragement that I could do it.
Okay, because I came from, I didn't come from a computer science background either, but I think the reason why I decided to study Rails and Ruby is because it just gave you the freedom to build stuff.
Yeah. Rather than...
So you didn't have to rely on anybody else to do it, and that sort of stuff, which is kind of worth it, really.
Yeah, and with Heroku, it's so easy to deploy your application. Be like, hey, and send it to your friends. Like, look, I built this in one day. So.
Awesome.
That was kind of my same question as well, but leading on from that, what was your computing knowledge actually before you actually started this program?
Before Railsbridge?
Yes.
I could do very little HTML and CSS, and I tried doing like a Python course on Coursera. I don't know if you guys know what those are, those online schools, and I just was like, ugh, I gave up because I thought it was too hard. But yeah, I had very, very little. I had no idea how, like learning how the internet works, like HTTP, everything has just completely opened my mind. And now, you know, I think when I'm on a website, I actually think about how it's working and how they did it, and I like to check out the source code. And but I had, yeah, very little experience with computers or anything technical at all.
Cheers. I did a design degree, not a computer science degree, but you mentioned something about core computer science concepts that were sort of maybe missed by these programs.
Yeah.
Have you got any thoughts on learning them without doing a computer science degree?
Yeah, because I definitely feel like I greatly lack in that area. So I've just been looking to my mentors, and I'm actually learning Clojure now. And I want to learn other languages so that I can be exposed to more like in-depth, hardcore computer science concepts. And a lot of times you do them in Ruby, but you just don't know that you're doing them.
Yep.
But I've really relied on my mentors who do have computer science degrees and backgrounds like that.
So trying to learn things that are a little bit more low level rather than...
yeah, or even higher level stuff I still feel like I struggle with.
Cool.
Any other questions? Yeah, one up the back.
Hi. So I know in America there's quite a few of these sort of schools like G School and ThoughtBot's one. I don't think there are many in Australia, but I think in Australia there's most people, if they want to get into it, they think they go straight to uni. That's obviously different in America. How has that culture changed? How would you encourage high school students to go for one of these schools instead of uni?
You know, in college, you're going to pay a really hefty price tag, and like with G School, you're in school for 6 months and you pay the tuition. But if you don't get a job for $60,000, which out of school is a lot of money, or at least for us in the U.S., and it's guaranteed, or you get your money back, is incredible. So you know, if I was going to go to university and they told me I would get my money back if I didn't get a job in 3 months, it's pretty incredible. And just the demand for engineers is through the roof, but. And I met 2 people last night at the GitHub Drink Up who were actually in a dev bootcamp-like thing here. Okay. I think it was General Assembly, do you know?
Yeah, GA. So GA do a 3-month Rails course, which has had good results. And what's that? They're expanding to Melbourne.
Awesome.
Anyone else?
Thank you. Oh.
We one more, because we have a little bit of time.
Oh, really? Sorry.
Hi. It's really cool to hear from this perspective of someone who's come through it. Like, I feel like we've come out of some sort of winter where we were relying on unis to make people sort of industry ready, which is not really the point of unis in the first place. Although it's not why they created, they formed. It's more like a center for research and ideas and moving stuff forward. So actually, I feel like this is like hacked the process and improved it and just taken it totally out of their hands and gone, all right, this is how we should do it. This is how to teach more effectively.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Like, it's more like a trade school, I see it as. You don't have to take all different classes and electives and have credits. You can just do what you want to do and be able to have skills that will get you a job afterwards, which I think is really awesome.
Because I've never seen someone as passionate as you are coming out of a comp sci degree. So.
Yeah, people say that. You were saying that too.
I'll just say one other thing, that on the ruby.org.au site, there is a list of mentors who are available. So a lot of those guys are here as well. So if anybody's in this room and is happy to be a mentor, can you just chuck your hand up quickly? Me?
Yay!
Right, so anyone who's got their hand up and anyone who's new and wants to have a chat, just look around, and we're all very friendly.
Yeah, that was like the biggest thing that really helped me, was having a mentor. When you're banging your head against a computer for 3 hours, just having that person that you can ask a question to makes a huge difference.
Hi. I organize the Rails Girls stuff for Sydney, and I know about the Women Who Code that's just starting up here as well. So if that's something that you're interested in mentoring or attending, talk to me afterwards.
Yeah, we have two. Anyone else? Yeah.
Just to follow on from Lucy. For those who don't know, Rails Girls Next, which Lucy and the others ran yesterday, is the first example of that for Rails Girls in the world. So local people, Australian people, Lucy and others wrote the material for that, and the first time it's been run was here in Sydney. So hopefully they'll roll that out at Rails Girls in other cities around the world now. But that was something that we did here, so that's really cool, I think.
Wow.
And our friend Amanda at the front here is organising Rails Girls for Melbourne as well. So if you're in Melbourne, come down and talk to her.
There'll be something.
I just want to say thank you. I'm just new starting. I'm transitioning, hopefully, from being a corporate lawyer who hates her job into starting code. And I went to a Rails Girl event in Melbourne. It was just wonderful. It inspired me. So I'm trying to go in some of the same direction. And I just want to say, this stuff that's out there, like the courses that are online, going through Treehouse Code School, the hour of code stuff, just playing with things and going, okay, I don't understand any of this. I got kicked out of maths in high school. This is all about maths, isn't it? Oh, no, it's not. I don't have to understand that stuff that I failed in when I was 15 to do this. And that's been a real, oh, okay. And the reason I wanted to become and do coding, and the reason why I'm here, and thank you guys for letting me have a sponsorship ticket, was because I have ideas about how I'd like to improve things or do things or see things done through my passions, and I can't make them happen because I don't know how to. And as a, not a stupid person, but, you know, usually I can do things and I can't do that, so therefore I want to tackle it and do it. And it's challenging sitting at home at night banging your head against the screen with no one to talk to. But, you know, you just sort of keep trying.
Yeah, that's why I think a mentor is helpful. You know, even popping them an email or I always send them, my mentors screenshots at like 2 a.m. of like the problem that I'm getting stuck on. So, thank you.
Time for one more? Yeah. We have the Angie. You've already had one. Sure. Here, Tim.
Hi, I have a very similar story to you. I've just finished GA's 3-month bootcamp and I'm working full-time as a junior Rails developer. Awesome. My question is, yay! My question is, do you think it's also valuable doing a degree? I completely changed I was in aviation and completely changed my career path, but I'm enrolled part-time doing my uni degree just to get some business background and some terminology and stuff like that. Do you think that's helpful?
Like a degree in business or computer science? Computer
science.
You know, I don't know. I've only heard like a lot of negative things about computer science courses, like how boring they are, but I never went, so that's all just me hearing. Okay, yeah, I don't know if people with computer science degrees would like to answer, like.
It's a lot cheaper in Australia, so it's not as big a deal.
Okay.
You can do open courses. Often, like the first 2 papers of a degree are actually quite helpful. The concepts, they give you a place to start. You know, what is concurrency, what is all of these sort of things, what is recursion, all these kind of really heavy computer science concepts are broken down at that level. And you don't necessarily need to go much further than that to be a good coder, but you need to know the words so you can Google them.
Yeah, you know what to Google.
And especially if you are already a programmer. If you're already a programmer, like, you're not going to be spending nights wondering about those curly braces quite as much, you know? Like, you get to actually focus on the important stuff, which I think a lot of people miss in their 101s.
You rarely have to re-implement a bubble sort in Ruby. It just doesn't.
No.
All right, we're going to call that.
Thank you.